Sound is the first thing anyone ever really relates to. Even when you're a baby, before you can even enunciate words, the sound of your mother's heartbeat, the sound of all the nature that's around you when you're born. You can't really convey that into words, but you still hear things and you feel things. And it's all, like I said a lot of times, emotion is driven by sound. Sonically, you drive your emotions with the way that you hear things. And for me, I think the creative aspect of music and that sound was pleasurable and gratifying, but I had to find a way to transform that creative outlet through sound into an avenue that I could actually serve people other than myself.
You became a sound engineer for bands, right?
Yeah.
You were mixing sound for bands.
Yeah, de facto, because I was the singer, I happened to be the guy that owned the PA equipment. So, you're
mixing your own sound.
Right. So the natural transgression is you start as mixing your own sound and then figure out you have a knack for it and start,
Right.
working on the road and work your way up and start working with bands and realize that you're basically the tool for the outlet of their creative expression. So, the transgression from artist to fan, you're kind of that cog in the wheel, if you will, but it doesn't leave for a lot of your own, expression. You can't really, put your own artistic touch on the band.
How long did you do that?
About 4.5 years.
Right, and you toured, you were on the road with bands?
Toured,
yeah.
Lived in a bus.
There's got to be
10 of my smelliest friends.
There's got to be some good stuff that goes along with that, but it sounds like at some point...
Mostly the pizza, yeah. The pizza at the end of the show, that's usually the good stuff. Loading the truck, and, of course, my 4 favorite words of every rock show. Thank you, good night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think from what you're saying, there came a point, though, when you realized this isn't serving you creatively.
Right, exactly. I mean, it was a paycheck, but it didn't allow for any kind of an outlet for myself. It didn't give me the ability to express myself. I was, being utilized to express other people's art, and which is, again, a very noble profession. And the guys that still do that,
but you didn't want to do it with the whole of your life.
Yes, it just
other things
wasn't
to do.
For me. Yeah.
So what did you decide to do? I mean,
through some friends and some contacts, I was working in a venue in New York City called the Roseland Ballroom.
Sure.
And I was the house technical production manager there for 3 years.
Terrible sound in that place.
Yeah. Big empty cavern.
But maybe it was better then.
Yeah, I'm sure. Definitely not better.
So you're working at Roseland.
Yeah, and through some contacts, I met some of the guys that worked on Broadway musicals and kind of delved into that foray a little bit and got the realization, working with sound designers and working with guys on Broadway, you get the realization that you can take a story and tell the story through sound. Whether it's the orchestra, the guys in the pit, the musicians in the orchestra pit playing, the characters on stage singing and talking, and sound really tells the story. The set pieces and the actors, they're in character costume, and that's one visual story, but the real story and the real emotion is told through the violins and the other instruments, the woodwind instruments and whatnot that tell that real kind of firm story of emotion.
So that's a very different way of miking a band. Obviously, with a band, it's fairly simple. I mean, obviously, unless you're with U2 or something where it gets complicated. But most bands on the road, there's 4 or 5 guys on stage. You're miking those instruments and mixing it so it sounds good in the house.
Yeah.
When you're mixing 20, 30 musicians at a show, as well as the actors on stage, you must have learned a few things there that you weren't aware of before. One
of the cool things about Broadway is it's set to time, right? The musical's set to time. So when you go through the automation process, which is quite extensive during tech rehearsal, the microphones open and close through the automation of the console. So it's...
Can you explain what that is?
Okay, so you basically set out cues. So during the sound signature of a certain piece of music, certain instruments play at certain times and certain instruments don't play at certain times. So it's all set to time. So as long as the automation process is correct, that particular microphone will open at a certain time and close at a certain time based on when you hit go. So the next cue for that song, you'll hit go, and it'll open the microphone for 8 violins for the beginning, 16 bars, and then close the microphone for those, and open the microphone for the oboe, and close the microphone, and open the microphone for the, some of the other instruments. And so the orchestra is kind of set. And that was one of the things I learned about telling the story on Broadway, but not necessarily anything past that, because once you set your show, that was it. It was the exact same show. You could set your watch to it because it was exactly the same 8 times a week.